Ladies and gents, we got another two up front for you today. Let's just dive in. So this is another one that's two up front right now. It is called the 532 DM WB Structured. There's really not a lot of information on the Steam Workshop. However, they did use Brighton, and it says another defensive but positive-minded formation worked wonders with Brighton. Try an inverted wingback if you have a good one. And apparently, the one of the pictures that he uses is Alex McAllister is fantastic in this. 32 matches, 16 goals, 15 assists, 745 rating. He's absolutely lights out. So we'll take a look in just a minute how it did with R3 of Tottenham, Wolves, and Newcastle. But this is the tactic right now. It is, again, 5-3-2 DM WB structured, positive mentality, completely custom. You have a goalkeeper in defend, ball playing defender on the left in defend, a central defender on the center on cover, and a wide center back defend on the right. Two wing backs in support. Deep lying plate maker in defense, box to box in support, a Mazzala in attack, and then two pressing forwards up front. In possession, attacking width is fairly narrow, approach plays passing to space, play out of defense, whip crosses in the final third, work the ball in the box, run at defense, be more expressive, passing directness is slightly shorter, tempo is slightly higher. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute to the fullbacks and the center backs. And then out of possession, mid-block line of engagement, standard defensive line, trigger press much more often, drop off more, and trap inside. So you are sitting back a little bit along with this, completely looking like defensive side of things. With the attacking Mazzala, you've got some support there, which is nice. But now, how does it do with our three teams? Let's take a look. As you can see, Wolves in Europa spots. Tottenham just missing out by 2 points. Newcastle in 10th, so everybody in a top 10 position, which is not bad. However, two teams are in the 50s in the point range. Wolves at 64. Sometimes you just can't beat the top four. Arsenal at 73. You're at 64 with Wolves, so you're 9 points off the top four spots. Who knows? West Ham, though, relegated yet qualifying for the Europa League. So they must have won the one of the cups or something, but still. It seems to be an average tactic so far. Wolves doing fairly well, though, getting into Europa spots. But let's take a look at the schedules. Starting out with the tops at Wolves, you do have a slightly poor start. I mean, 2 draws, 3 losses, and a win in the first month. But then a very nice September and October. Some, that one loss, and there's 2 draws. 1-2 against Brentford. I would hope you could pick that up a little bit. First half of the season, it looks fairly nice, though. Second half, you're starting out with a nice EFL Cup 4th round win. Wins in the Cups in January. Completely end of January is awful, though. Out in the EFL Cup first and second leg, or the final first and the final second leg. And then out in the FA Cup, both Man City and Arsenal. You continue on. It's spotty. You've got a nice run here at the end of April, and actually at the end of May as well. But overall, if you'd picked it up a little bit in the second half, maybe you could have gotten to that 4th spot. I don't know. Tottenham's run is a lot more spotty, as you would expect. A win, a loss, a win, a loss. 1-8 to Manchester City. Wow. Your first run, though, is a run of 3. Fulham 4-all draw. 4 goals against. 7-1 crushing of West Ham. So you have some nice results. Some of the losses aren't by too much. Aston Villa 0-1. Wolves 1-3. Bayer Leverkusen 1-2. Champions League Group A. Not starting out very well at all. I'm going to assume, you continue on to the round of 16. Interesting. I would have said Europa League dropout right there. But second half of the season, you do have a couple of runs out in the EFL Cup against Newcastle. Bayern Munich, wow. A nice run there. 3-1, 1-all. You continue on. You lose to Liverpool 3-4 and then 1-3. So completely out in the quarters. Not too bad. You do move on in the FA Cup quarters, the semis against Manchester City, 3-2, nice. But again, Liverpool is just the bogey team. Everyone's bogey team in this FA Cup final. 0-1 loss to Liverpool. I mean, some of these results definitely could have been better, but tired squads at this point, who knows? Newcastle schedule, you got a couple more wins in a row, but you also have a couple more losses in a row. A nice start to October, a bad end to October. Are you out in anything? Nothing. You're continuing on in the EFL Cup. EFL Cup quarterfinals against Wolves. We saw that actually. FA Cup fourth round 4-1. FA Cup fifth round against Arsenal, you're out. Second half, just increasing the spottiness. Nothing fantastic at all. Transfer wise for Wolves, Lino Sousa. Have we seen him before from Arsenal alone with a 98k total fee? We've seen the others before, so I'm not going to go to those. And same with the outs. Oh, Daniel Podence goes out actually for 5.5. That's a new one. Tottenham with a very nice set of spending money. Tony Weston from Rangers, which is usual. Austin Guiai from San Lorenzo, 6.25. But Pau Torres for Villarreal, 52 million. That is spending some cash. And then, as usual, nothing out. And also with Newcastle, some money, more money spent. Milan Skriniar from Inter, 30 million. Facundo Farias from Cologne, 2.1. Some loans here. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Donny van de Beek. We've seen some of them before. Kai Kennedy. And then Lucas Vasquez from Real Madrid on loan for 230k. So they are spending a little bit of money. Mark Gillespie out to Burnley for 1.3. Wolves Data Hub, generally okay in both defense and attack. As you can see, everything but shots per game is fairly much above, with a couple of ones that are just dead on with the Premier League average. Get off my screen, please. Team defending, however, you got a couple of interceptions per game, which is nice. Blocks per game. You've got a couple here, though, that are just under. Fouls per game is above. So, yeah, defensively, Tottenham says good both in defense and attack. You do have a couple of pieces in defense. Clearances per game, which is far below. Conceded per game, which is lower, which is nice. Expected goals per game is a little bit lower, so that's not great. But you got a couple of fouls per game. Is always just so far up there. Attacking wise, though, everything again but shots per game. Pretty much everything except for dribbles per game. And passing percentage just over. And then Newcastle is generally okay defensively and good in attack. So again, fouls per game is massive. Everything else is just under or maybe tied at blocks per game. But everything, for the most part, in team attacking, except for shots per game, and passing percentage is dead on, but everything else above the Premier League average. Squad-wise, remember, pause it where you want to see it. But otherwise, Wolves, doing okay. Much better in the last 5. Tottenham squad, a little less in the last 5, and overall, just average. And then Newcastle, they have a good amount in the last 5, but again, average at best for the average rating overall. Skriniar, that was 7.2, looks pretty nice. Lucas Vasquez with 7.12. Stats-wise, most goals, Wolves and Tottenham are both in there, 67 and 62 apiece. Fewest shots against, nobody. I mean, it's crazy. Most dribbles, Wolves, 781. Newcastle was 714. Fewest conceded, nobody. Most shutouts, nobody. Most tackles, there you go. Tottenham with 851, so doing a nice defensive job. There you go. Most shots for, nobody, and most points per game. Wolves in 6th and Tottenham in 8th, as you would expect. 168 and 150. Goals, Harry Kane tied for 2nd with 21. Cunha with 19. Isaac with 18, and Raul Jimenez with 17, so a nice spread there. Most assists, you got Matheus Nunes with 11, and that's it. Player of the Match awards, Harry Kane with 6, Isaac with 6. And then anyone else? Wow. Aït-Nouri, Semedo, Trippier, and Porro, all with most dribbles made. And then fewest conceded, we already know there's going to be no one. Oh, Nick Pope with most shutouts, 7th with 12. Not too bad. Most tackles, 1. I'm surprised nobody there. Key pass to Trippier is always there with 144. Most shots, Isaac up there with 123. Kane with 98. Kane with only 98. And then we've already seen most goals. And as we finish out, Cunha with 23 goals for Wolves, top goal scorer. Raul Jimenez with 721 average rating. Matheus Nunes with 14 assists. And Cunha with 6 Player of the Match awards. They did fairly well. I mean, especially rising from, I think they were supposed to be 15th in the league or thereabouts. They did really well to end up in 6th. Not too bad. For Tottenham, Harry Kane with 28 whopping goals. Not a bad tally for him. Kind of on the higher side of average. Son with 720, highest average rating, not too bad for him. Son with 11 assists. And then Harry Kane and Son with 7 Player of the Match awards apiece. And then ending up with Newcastle, Isaac with 24 goals, definitely on the average side. He's had more, but 7.42 highest average rating, fantastic for Isaac. Most assists, Trippier and Isaac with 10 apiece. I mean, Isaac has had a phenomenal season. And then Isaac with 8 Player of the Match awards, beating all the other teams. So overall, I mean, I will say this tactic probably didn't do the greatest of jobs, but again, use your own abilities, your own shouting, your own squads and squad depth and all that, your own transfers. And you could probably do a little bit better than some of these teams. 57 to 59 is not a big difference. Obviously, it's Newcastle at 53. I think all 3 teams, if you were able to get a couple more wins out, I mean, hopefully you'd be able to, and just rise in the ranks a little bit. Maybe not to, top 3, but who knows. Anyway, that is it for me, Safian FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.